I don't even know how to put this in words, because this is what happened to me when I was in that mindset and I had that closed mindset and everything was negative, everything was out to get me. I was unable to move forward. I could not move forward in any aspect of life as much as I wanted to, because everything was, in my mind, everything was holding me back, wasn't me.
Transmission received. Authorization granted. Welcome to the video.
What's up, dreamers? I hope everybody is having a fantastic day or night, depending on where you are in the world. I hope your day was fantastic, depending on where you are in the world, and you're awesome. Just remember that. Today I want to talk about, what do I want to talk about? Positivity. I want to talk about positivity, staying positive, and having an open mindset. So positivity and having an open mind, that's what I want to talk about. When I was younger, my mindset was quite the opposite of that. I had a closed mindset. I wasn't really open to any new information or opportunities or what people were telling me, or, I wouldn't even ask information really, or for help, I guess, for lack of better terms. But I also had a pretty negative outlook on everything. I think I'm probably going to reference this a lot, but in my younger years, I had a negative outlook on a lot of different aspects in life, and that affected a lot of different things. But I was never really primarily positive. I wasn't optimistic. Now, I'm very optimistic. Ask any of my friends or family or my wife, she'll tell you. Very optimistic. And why is my car auto stopping? Silly car. And I feel that it's a very important kind of mindset to have, to be able to, you don't have to be optimistic all the time, okay? Just gotta be like realistic. But just holding on to negativity all the time and having a closed mindset, never really giving anything a chance, or never really looking at a perspective outside of your own, which if you're stuck in negativity, if you're stuck in that vortex of negativity, as Gordon Ramsay would say, just watched some of his kitchen shows yesterday. I'm inspired to never cook in a kitchen, that's for sure, but I do like watching the show. As he would say, a vortex of negativity. I mean, if you get stuck in that and you're in and you have just a closed mindset too, or I don't even know how to put this in words, because this is what happened to me when I was in that mindset and I had that closed mindset and everything was negative, everything was out to get me. I was unable to move forward. I could not move forward in any aspect of life as much as I wanted to, because everything was, in my mind, everything was holding me back, wasn't me. Like, there was nothing I was doing that was wrong. It was everything else in the world. Everybody else, everything else, whatever. And it's easier said than done. I know that firsthand. It's easier said than done. But there are times where you need to start practicing optimism, positivity, having an open mind, especially when you're talking to friends, family, coworkers. Just, you got to start taking into consideration what other people are saying to try to help you escape that mindset. But I do think that step one, when you're in that vortex of negativity, I do think, and I firmly believe that step one is to realize that you are in that, you're stuck in negativity, that your outlook is on the negative aspect, the negative side of things, and that maybe changing a little bit of your outlook to a more positive outlook, more optimistic outlook, will help you in the long term, especially to start opening up to an open type mindset as opposed to a closed type mindset. And I think that is one of the first steps, is to realize that that's what's going on. It's kind of like everything else. If you don't really realize, or you are unwilling to accept the fact that you have such a negative outlook on life, or it doesn't even have to be on life, just negative outlook on certain situations in general, and you just refuse to accept that and refuse to change, even if other people are telling you this same information, but you look at them like they have 16 heads, and you're like, well, I don't know. like maybe opening up a little bit. Well, I just lost my train of thought, of course. But I want to talk a little bit about that. So I did talk about earlier how that's what affected me. So that's what affected me in my earlier years. I was diagnosed with depression and anger and anxiety. Not as much anxiety, but all of anger and depression was a huge one. And I did talk to a therapist, and I think that therapists are very, very valuable tools, especially if you are in this mindset and you just don't really know where to turn or where to go. Therapists are great, a great asset, a great tool to utilize in regards to self-help. But I did talk to one of them in my earlier years, but I will say, if I never changed the way that I viewed the world and my mindset, and if I didn't start switching how if I didn't realize how I felt, and if I didn't, kind of work on that and become a kind of a different person, my wife would have never given me the chance that I had, right? We probably wouldn't have started dating. I mean, let's go back to it. I had a pretty bad mindset, and the world was out to get me, and I had trouble kind of with myself, and okay, this guy's walking around. His car has his 4-ways on, so I kind of had trouble like with my self-views, like how I viewed myself, right? I didn't really like myself, let's be honest. If I didn't get past that, what they say is true. Like, if you don't love yourself, how could somebody else love you, right? People say that, and when I was younger, I guess, or in that mindset, I was like, well, my thought on that was, that's just BS. It's just a bunch of gibberish that people say, but it's actually true. I find that to be, just from experience, very, very true. If I wasn't able to start liking who I am as a person, I don't think my wife would have ever given me or liked me as a person either. Not that I don't think she would have liked me as a person, but if that kind of makes sense. I needed to give myself benefit of the doubt, right? I needed to kind of help myself out in the situation. I needed to change my mindset from negative to positive, at least most of the time positive, right? I mean, having I guess a slight negative mindset, kind of like, no matter what, you're gonna have some in some aspects of life, and that's okay. That's normal, right? Things are going to happen, and there are going to be times. There are still times where, just like everybody else, there are still times where I kind of get into a depressed mood, we'll say. It doesn't last nearly as long as it used to, but that still hits me periodically sometimes, and there's really no reason. It just kind of happens, and I think that's normal. But overall, I know, like, I think of it, and I know I'm gonna get over it. I'm gonna get through it, and it's just kind of something that happens, and it's not because the world's out to get me. It's just, something that people go through. And I think it's important for people to understand. I feel like that's something that's not very talked about too much, is the heavy impact of negativity and how much it could possibly weigh on somebody, right? And just having a closed mindset. And I think it's important to always evaluate kind of how you're feeling, and if you need to work on that, it is okay to ask for help. I think it's always okay to ask for help. I was never really able to ask for help, but nowadays I ask for help all the time. If I need help with something, I'm gonna ask for help. But yeah, I feel like this was more of a rambling. I want to get more into depth on this video. I think I'm gonna make another video on this where I really go into kind of like in more detail I feel like there's a lot of stuff I want to say, and I don't really know how to articulate it while driving here. I felt like it was going to be easier to do when I started this video, but it's, you know, jam-packed with information. But I hope everybody has a great rest of their day, or a great start to their day, depending on when you're watching this. And yeah, hope to see everybody in the next video, and I will see you later, dreamers.